Okay. Namaskar. Hello and welcome to P Guru's channel. I'm your host Sri Iyer. The guest today that you're going to see is not a stranger, but we have been a little bit not in conversation for a few months. I'm hoping to make this thing a beginning of 2025, where we are going to have him frequently on our channel. Major General Rajiv Narayanan. Namaskar, sir.
Namaskaram. Namaskaram. Pleasure to be on your channel.
Thank you, sir. Viewers, today we are going to talk about a lot of things which we just kind of hear it from one ear and it goes out the other ear because geopolitics is moving so fast. First, we are going to take a look at the Arakan army, decoding this, what is really going on in the Bangladesh border with Myanmar, as well as what is India doing here. Is it just waiting and seeing, or is there something else that is going on that perhaps I can't decode, but I'm sure General Rajiv Narayanan can. Sir, over to you.
Okay. It would be very limited view if I look at only at Bangladesh and Arakan, because these are small cogs in the wheel of the larger picture.
Right.
And the larger picture has always been in this region, Bharat, India. Why? I think the inflection point was how you handled COVID and how you recovered from there and showed your tenacity with zero PPEs. You started exporting PPEs, you created your own vaccines, and the manner in which you revived back. Today, both World Bank and IMF for the last 2 years have been open in saying that the future of global economy rests on Indian economy. And most of the global IR experts are very clear that there is a churn going on, and the new global order, the Fulcrum, will be India. So if that be the case, the white man cannot countenance the native dictating terms, and this is where strategic autonomy, the spine that you have shown in the Ukraine war by supporting Russia, taking oil from them, and standing up for the global south as the voice of global south, is anathema to the white man. He will do anything and everything to control the policies of India, which he feels this government will not permit.
So try to change the government.
Yes.
June 2024.
Yes. So it all begins from there. All the narrative building, anti-NDA narrative building, everything begins from there. And it's a repeat, you can say. 2014, when Modi came to power, you heard terms as post-truth, new normal, death of democracy, fascism. What happened when Trump came to power? Exactly the same words. Post-truth, new normal, death of democracy, fascism. So they are very scared that they will lose control. Now, who are they? So we have spoken earlier in various channels about the deep state. The deep state is not a single monolith structure. There is a Crown Council and the committee below it. Crown Council are the European colonizers of yesteryears, the royal families who controlled the globe through colonies. Then you have a committee below it, their minions who work for them. And below that is a round table which executes. This is where George Soros, Obama, Bill Gates and their ilk sit there. And this suddenly, they used what I say the LCM cabal, that is the leftists. I don't call them liberal because they term themselves liberal leftists. A liberal cannot be a leftist, and a leftist is surely not liberal. You can look at any left government which is there, take it China or old Soviet Union, they are not. So they are ultra leftists. They took on China. China was on the rise and most of the money was coming there. And the radical Islam was a good foot soldier for them to create trouble in the global south. That is why when the white men were running, Ukrainians, Western Ukrainians, when they're running across the Polish border, they were screaming and heard to say that this is not what a white man does, this is normal for Asia and Africa. That tells you how racist they are. So today, if a white man has to listen to the diktats of a native, which were their slaves in the yesteryears, I don't think they like it. Hence, they thought that this June election, they would be able to upset the cart and get the alternate in place who would listen to them, as they were listening from 2004 to 14. I'll put it bluntly. They failed. Why did all this start happening also, what is happening in the northeast and Myanmar? Afghanistan, moment they gave them to power, Taliban to power, India spoke to them, they destroyed 95% of the poppy fields. So the
So in
narco-terror,
exchange, what did India promise to Afghanistan?
they were supporting them, they're giving them all their livelihood things. Whatever food and everything they want, that is the route through Chabahar port. So quietly everything what they want, you have opened an office out there, he is the rep, but they look after whatever are the needs and then you send it from them quietly. That's a different issue that the Americans keep giving money to them to trouble Pakistan, and we'll come to that.
Yes. So the number that is bandied about is in the region of $100 million a month?
Around 85 million per month.
Sir, my blood boils, sir. This is my taxpayer money. I am very, very concerned.
Oh, no, this is all, hardly anything is from the taxpayers' money here. Most of it is their black money through the black market that they control.
Yeah, I'm even more concerned. Where did that come from?
So the narco-terror funding stopped from there. So hence the CIA wanted CIA needs the narco-terror funding. It goes back to the Iran-Contra deal, which blew up. At that time, a lot of money CIA was using was the taxpayers' money.
Right.
And Congress had an oversight. And that is where Oliver North and all that people got sacked. And Ralph Peters, I'll come to him later, he also got sacked in that. All these people joined the Republicans.
Right.
Republicans were in power at that time.
Right,
Reagan was in power at that time.
Reagan said, I did not know.
That's a good joke. So, the only other major narcotic trade that was going on was the Golden Triangle here, which most of it was getting controlled by the Chinese. North Myanmar, Cambodia, Laos, even a lot in Manipur and all these places, there was a lot of poppy being grown. Biren Singh destroyed more than 50% of the poppy field. This, in November 2023, is when the three brothers and Arakan army started the offensive in North Myanmar. Quite a lot of funding and support quietly came from the Americans to push out the Chinese and take control of North Myanmar so that any narcotic trade there could be controlled by them. And it is very rich in minerals also, that area. But the people didn't like that, but they took the support. Something like the Afghans have not liked the Pakistanis and the Americans, and they reached out to you.
Right.
These people reached out to Indians. They trusted us more. So suddenly you find that that place is also closed because they were looking at creating a Christian state. Northwest Myanmar, where the what is that name? I'm forgetting. There's a tribe, Mo tribe. That's how the Mizoram was Moro, the Mo resistance organization, which used to be there earlier. So those, along with Mizoram, Manipur, Mizoram and Chittagong, not Komilla portion, Chittagong, Cox's Bazar portion, that to become the hub because they needed a port.
Of course.
And they
always a port.
needed Saint Martin Islands to be able to dominate that area as a base so that that doesn't get threatened. Now, everything has started collapsing. That didn't work out because the North Myanmaris found that they had better relations with India because northeast, a border with Myanmar is an open border, 16 kilometers on either side, you can freely go. And they depend on a lot of things on India. I've been there and a sizable portion of that border was under my command, under my watch. There are a lot of things that we have given to them. Whether you want medicines, you want construction material, you name it, everything has gone from India. So they realize that US sitting out there not going to give them something. Their survival depends on India. Good relations with India. So now the track started from Comilla. They tried through Tripura, but from Chittagong going through Mizoram and coming into Manipur. Now, the Mizoram CM, I think, spilled the beans.
Yeah.
When he tried to say that you can't fight three enemies.
Right.
And that we Christians should get together. And now suddenly on the back foot now is clarifying, no. I said a Christian state under a Indian constitution. But that's afterthought. But when you look at it, you realize that there is a strategy in place of this government because they have placed a home minister, ex-home secretary as the governor of Manipur,
Ajay
Bhalla, and an ex-chief who has extensive experience in the northeast, and before he became chief, he was the Eastern Army commander, my army commander when I was there in the northeast.
General V.K. Singh.
General V.K. Singh is in Mizoram. So he is going to block all these in cohesion. So why this happened in Bangladesh, why in August? They thought that they would be able to affect and influence our elections. George Soros is on record to say that he had spent $1 billion
Wow.
to influence the elections.
General Rajiv, forgive me for just interrupting for just one moment. I have heard that when Cambridge Analytica got exposed in UK, a part of that was hived off and that was regenerated or reinvigorated in Punya Nagari, Pune. And looks like they have been working very, very hard.
See, I'll be open about it. Who are these people who work for these outside powers to spoil your own country? I would say they are the descendants of those people who sold themselves to the Muslims and the British for money. So these people have that blood and they have no self-respect for your country. He will sell anybody. So he has no shame in sitting outside and writing against you and doing against things. But today what has happened is earlier people used to lap up because your condition was bad.
Right.
Now, like somebody wrote, I kept quiet on that, that under Manmohan Singh the GDP rose 144%. I don't know the figure whether it is true, but this much I know. When Atal Bihari Vajpayee handed over the government to Manmohan Singh, India was in the top 10 economy. When Manmohan Singh handed over the government to Narendra Modi, you were in fragile 5. Now 144 growth versus fragile 5, I leave it to the audience to decide.
Right.
People say that he changed the economy. Sorry. Since 68 to some extent, but from 1971, he has been part of the government machinery in making the fiscal and monetary policies. So he was very much part of the system which made you bankrupt in 91.
Right.
It was the IMF and PV Narasimha Rao who stood firm and said, you will, P.V. Narasimha Rao stood firm on his head and said, you will do what IMF has told you to do.
Right.
I will sort it out in the parliament.
Correct, correct.
So it's not Manmohan Singh, but it was P.V. Narasimha Rao. Because if he was so good an economist, why did India fall from top 10 to fragile 5?
Right.
He was no economist. He was a hardcore socialist economist. And socialism is a bane for any country's economy. I would rather go for a capitalistic socialism,
Right.
a model something similar to Sweden, where capitalism exists, but there is a welfare for the needy.
Right.
If you go out and out socialism, like what Rahul Gandhi was saying in the elections, that he will redistribute the wealth,
Right.
then why will I work?
Correct.
I will expect you to work and take your money.
Yes, yes.
And then over a period of time, nobody works.
Nobody works. Very true. Very true. People don't play this thing out.
Yes, nobody will work. Then what happens? That's the death of the country. So they tried so much, but they failed. And then they tried to make a success out of their failure, that we made sure that the BJP didn't get outright majority.
Right.
But hello, NDA is in majority.
Right.
That is when they decided, that is June, they decided that Sheikh Hasina has to go. Okay. So June itself.
So you can't do anything inside India. So let us try to work from outside and try to start dig away.
Pakistan was there, it has collapsed.
Correct.
Thanks to the BRI and China and
Right.
everything, and with Afghanistan now being sorted out, set to sort out Pakistan, Pakistan is gone. So we'll talk about that later. So this flank you thought you would create something in Bangladesh. The student leader who led it through somebody spoke out to me when they were crying when the Razakars under the garb of Jametis took over. So I asked him, look, your issue was reservation of descendants of Mukti Bahini. He said, yes. Sheikh Hasina cancelled it. He said, yes. High Court overturned it. He said, yes. Then why did you go after Sheikh Hasina and not the High Court judge? He had no
Correct.
answer.
Correct. So what did he say to that?
He had no answer. I said, you damn it, you take money and do these nonsensical things. Then you cry. Obviously you'll cry. Now the boot is on your foot. Now you cry. We are not going to do anything to come inside and help you. Sorry. This is a situation created by you. If you can answer me why you didn't go after the High Court judge who has overturned her diktat. So initially she had said only 5%. Now the Supreme Court has said 7%. You are happy with that? She was said 5%. So the culprit is the High Court judge. So तुमको तो अच्छा उल्लू बना दिया. They made a fool of you and you became a fool. Now you have to reap the folly. I said, you sow a breeze, you will reap a whirlwind.
Right.
This is what has happened. So as of June itself, they had decided once the results came that Bangladesh has to be done. Bangladesh, the biggest is the garment industry, and as of June itself, everybody was here. And the number one is Peter Haas. Peter Haas belongs to the famous Levi's jeans family. He led the delegation into India and they signed all the contracts out here. Imagine it's going to happen in August. They had already decided, Europe and the West, that this is going to happen. So they were setting their house in order.
Hedge your bets. Take care of your risks.
Take care of your, they knew that this is going to happen. So my money should keep coming, my garment should keep coming. So shift the contracts to India. Now that has taken place, now they suddenly find they can do nothing. Where does US have money to throw here? Which Congress is going to accept giving money to Bangladesh?
Right.
Their concentration is everything into Israel and Ukraine.
Right.
They are not interested here. Now is up a gum tree. And the fools should have realized 3 sides of your country you have border with India.
India.
It's a small 271 only kilometers land border which is there in Myanmar. On the 4th side is the Bay of Bengal.
Right.
You can't do anything but rely on India. Now you have nothing left. You trying to take something from Pakistan. What will he give? His own economy is in shambles. So now you find Mullah Yunus, I call him, because he's a hardcore radical, jumping from one side to the other side. He has been with the Clintons since 2006. They gave the initial funding and other things for the Grameen Bank, for which he got a Peace Prize. At that time, he made a statement, in 17 years, there will be nobody poor in Bangladesh. The poor percentage has only risen by 35%.
Only 35%.
And why do I say he's a hardcore radical? He gives loan at exorbitant rates only to the females. Doesn't give to male. Because as per Sharia, a female's evidence is worth 1/4 the value of a male's. There's no value. And he has been used as a money launderer by the Clintons. He is, since 2009, he is the largest donator to Clinton Foundation. Now, where do you get the money from? So it's a cycle. They send the black money here, he shows it profits in the Grameen Bank and send the money back out there. Who is to question? Sheikh Hasina questioned and interrogation started against him. That is why he ran away. Now he has come back. He doesn't know anything about governance. Everybody has walked back. People ask him the question, you are supposed to be the caretaker, an advisor to a government. Which government?
Here is no Prime Minister.
There is no government. So you are a caretaker advisor to whom? The president doesn't listen to you. Because the president knows you don't have the power. And with the Razakars and others coming onto the street today, there are fissures coming between him and the army. The army, of course, must have taken a lot of money and facilitated everything, but they facilitated the escape of Sheikh Hasina and the complete Awami League leaders.
Right.
Now they don't know what to do. He says, no, 26, 27, I will hold elections. He's hoping something will happen.
Right.
For rice, he has to come back to you. So now you hold the key to the rice. They are rice eating. So this has collapsed and it is not working with the Arakan army now threatening them to take over Chittagong. There are reports, I have not received confirmation as yet. Two things have come out, that the Arakan army has taken over the Saint Martin Islands and that they have given it to India. But let's see how this pans out. Because they had laid a claim. Because they said this has always been, Saint Martin's has always been part of Myanmar. It was only the Britishers, when they gave independence, they handed it over to then East Pakistan. So they said, historically, they have said it doesn't belong to you, it is ours.
So now they have you have a new twist. What is Bangladesh's island is also being contested from the other side, Myanmar.
Yes, Myanmar, they say, because they, and this would be our saying, because when you take Saint Martin's,
right,
then you dominate Sitwe, and which is your port, and to a large extent you can oversee Kyokpu, which is the Chinese port, from where the oil and gas goes up. And China will cry. China will cry. Because already the Arakan army has sent notice, I think it was till tomorrow. Sitwe and Kyokpu have a small Myanmar army, Tatmadaw they call, Tatmadaw base out there. They have been told to vacate. So the manner in which they have fought off the Tatmadaw and taken control of most of north and quite a lot of central and western Myanmar, there's nothing much left with the Tatmadaw.
General Rajiv Narayanan, this could not have been planned like, okay, let's just keep going. There must have been a lot of planning that must have taken place.
That's where I said they lean towards you.
I'm still, I'm very intrigued by the silent hand that seems to be moving this in a certain direction.
It's like the unknown soul, unknown gunman.
Unknown gunman. So the unknown gunman is slightly
So it's like the unknown gunman.
Right.
These, see, I always say, in Hindi, there is a very famous statement by Madan Puri in one of the films, I think, I'm forgetting the name of that film. His name was Albert. Albert जो कहता है वो करता नहीं है, जो करता है वो कहता नहीं है. So in these situations, all these things are done covertly. You have to join the dots and then you make out that yes, this is the hand. Which are the dots? They came to you for parley. They didn't go to China for parley. They didn't go to US for parley. They didn't go to Bangladesh or any place for parley. They came to you in Delhi for a week's parley. Prior to that, they have, when they were approaching Sitwe, they have clearly said, we are very happy with India controlling Sitwe. We would like them to control. Right? And finally, telling here in Delhi that the land of North Myanmar will never be permitted to be used for any anti-India activities,
Right.
and that was a direct messaging to the Myanmaris cookies. So whoever was there, they are creating whatever is going on. You don't hear of new influx of cookies from Myanmar. So when you join the dots, you know that you have been helping them. You have been supporting them tacitly, quietly, guiding them, holding their hand, taking them through. And they've thrown out there were about almost 50,000 Chinese out there. They've all been booted out. They're all in refugee camps in Yunnan. Why is China crying? And China is crying. A lot of people say that China also supported Bangladesh. No, the regime change was done by the Americans to throw the Chinese out from there firstly. China was the second largest FDI after, surprise, surprise, UK. They were UK is the first, the biggest FDI as of 2023. The biggest FDI used to come from UK. Number 2 was China. Then Chinese had close to 1,000 companies working within Bangladesh. Everything is shut. It's all gone. So why will China accept Mullah Yunus? So Mullah Yunus is left to his own this thing. He doesn't know what to do. There's no money coming. If he has to go to IMF, it has to be a government.
Right.
Not a caretaker.
They won't talk to individuals. No way.
So where? He can't pay. There's nothing left. There's no power. There's no food. So suddenly he is realizing that I have got the wrong end of the stick. I won't be surprised in the coming 2-3 years, Sheikh Hasina and her team comes back.
Yeah, that's one of the things that are being discussed between groups like the transition team, if you will, of Trump and people in India. Yeah. For example, the MEA has been there for 6 days.
Yes.
So what is it doing for 6 days? That's a big question.
The moment she comes back, there is big egg on the face of George Soros and all these regime change girls. Victoria Nuland, Samantha Power, Donald Lu especially. Donald Lu, he came to India, he got a mouthful. Got a real slap on his wrist. And he just went back. There's no statement, no nothing. He thought he'll come and dictate, and he got dictated to, and
he also went to Sri Lanka and Bangladesh.
Yeah, Bangladesh, they might be asking him money.
Right.
Sri Lanka, he found there were no takers. They don't trust them. Because they try to use and throw. Now, what will happen to Yunus?
Use and throw.
If he doesn't run away, there will be Interpol notice for him.
Right.
Because there is a whole lot of massacre of people that has taken place.
Correct.
Not just Hindus, the Buddhists, the Christians. The day he made a statement after when Jaishankar was to reach there, why did Jake Sullivan suddenly come out and say, no, message to Yunus, all this minority killing and all, as if it was not going on before that? Did he come out even one day? Right. No, he got shit scared because, pardon my language, because Jaishankar was coming and he knew the kind of man Jaishankar is. You would have given it to him. So he went and spoke there. He spoke. What happened? A day before Christmas, They burnt 17 houses of Christians and a church. And that's what Jaishankar would have told him.
Right.
What are you idiots thinking? See, as far as the deep state was concerned, China became a no-no after Xi Jinping declared that he is working towards a global order with Chinese characteristics.
Right. Right.
That means that is a direct threat to the deep state who wants to control the globe. Okay. The Muslims became no-no after COVID when they started talking of a Sharia Europe. Now, bulk of the deep state, the royalty is from Europe.
Right.
So that they look at Muslims as a threat. All this has been going on till they didn't come out openly and start talking of Europistan and Englistan and Germanistan.
Right.
Now suddenly you find the white man is on the streets fighting back against the Muslims. Why didn't he do it before? He kept quiet. So as long as the problem stayed in the global south, that is Africa,
Right.
Asia, there was no problem with the white man. Now he is crying because the boot is on the other foot. He is facing the problem in his country.
Right.
And it is not as much a problem in Africa and Asia as much as it is now today in his country.
Right.
Because his population is declining, their population is rising, and they have a foolish socialism sort of a package where the dole is given to the size of the family. Literate women, qualified women, technically qualified women, doctors who are Muslims are not working. They say, why should I work? I will produce kids. My husband has 4 wives. We will just produce kids and we'll live on them. So they don't work, but they live on your taxes. Same is happening in USA, especially in the Democrat states.
Right.
They don't work. Why should he work? Because the state is giving him dole as per the size of his family, which I find is ridiculous. How can you do that? That means nobody is going to. Where is the yearning to work?
Right.
So that is the problem. Now Bangladesh is going to face what to do, where to go. So the only thing that is going to happen is to get the Razakars on all these idiots into jails, Yunus into jail, all these people, the student groups who led this rebellion into jail and get Sheikh Hasina and others back, only then. But I'm saying it will take about 2-3 years because the contracts are already with India. So I don't know how long they give the contract for, maybe 1 or 2 years to keep doing. Nobody is going to give you a lifetime contract. It's going to be not more than 2 years or 3 years. So once the contracts are over, just about when the contracts are getting over, that's when they would like her to come back, take over, and the contracts go back to her.
Right.
So now she is painted in bright light. She brought back the economy of Bangladesh.
Right. So until then, these guys will like slow trickle.
Slow death. Like what Ajit used to say, put him in liquid oxygen. Liquid will not let him live and oxygen will not let him die. And now when you look to the West, for 20 years, brazenly, the Pakistanis ran with the hares and hunted with the hounds. And the Indians kept telling the Americans that you're being made an ass of. And especially after Osama bin Laden was killed.
Right.
Brazenly we told them, you're fools. Attock is a military cantonment, and in Pakistan army, in a cantonment, nobody can be there without them not knowing it. So if you accept the Pakistan army didn't know it, you are idiots. And if you take it that the Pakistani army didn't know it, why didn't you tell them?
Right.
And you technically froze the radars also when you went in.
Right.
It's only when they were going out you saw it. Coming in you didn't see.
Right.
So my take is the deal that Obama did with Taliban in Doha. If you read the treaty, it is Taliban and others, the government of Taliban.
Is it Obama or
Trump. My mistake, I correct myself. Trump did it. The treaty says it is US and with Taliban and other powers in Afghanistan. Message is very clear to the government that of that day, Karzai's government, that you have been clubbed as other powers. He didn't say US and Taliban with the government of Afghanistan and other powers.
Right. It's not even being named. Yeah.
Not even being named. Not one of their rep was part of this discussion in Doha. So the writing was on the wall there itself that things are going into Taliban hand. Yes, the manner in which they left was bad because they left behind a lot of their assets. But assets means human assets. And that is where the anger lies in the common man there who assisted the ISAF and others, that we have been left to the brutality of Taliban.
Right.
Rest of the assets were actually handed over to the Taliban. And they are able to use it today because of this, which I said, that $85 million per month, which comes to them. And I'm sure the sustenance is also being provided for by the Americans for the weapons. If I'm riding a Humvee, it needs maintenance, it needs spares, everything is being done, looked after.
So what is the end goal here for America?
Yeah, okay. As we were talking off record when we were coming, in 1990, there used to be a Pax Americana which was made in 92 by the Republicans, or it was a bipartisan. It was a conservative, extremely conservative people of both Republicans and Democrats. They called it Pax Americana. That was made in 92, immediately after the Soviet Union broke apart. That we are now the sole superpower, which they were. And so now it is time for Pax Americana, like it was Pax Britannica. By about 94, 95, they had second thoughts on that name, that it's too imperialistic. So they changed it to Project of the New American Century. The Ralph Peters, Lieutenant Colonel Ralph Peters, like Oliver North, they were both sacked, they both joined Republicans.
During the Iran-Contra.
Yeah. So he wrote a paper redrawing the borders of the Middle East. It is interesting. I wrote it in 98. I got a copy of it. I was DA in Tajikistan, Dushanbe. The American DA became close friends. He was also a tank man. I was also a tank man. A youngster, a Major Saab. I was a full colonel at that time. He gave me this paper and he said, I would like you to read it and give your views. It's an eye-opener. So I had told him then that it will create a lot of bloodshed. He said yes. So the previous borders also were drawn, which was through bloodshed. So we would like this type of border to be there. In that, Iraq was to be split into three parts. A Shia Iraq, a Sunni Iraq and a Kurd Iraq. And there used to be a Kurdistan. But if you look at it dispassionately today, Iraq is like that. There is a Shia Iraq. There is a Sunni Iraq which borders with Syria and has a small border with Jordan and Saudi Arabia, mostly desert. But the Shia's writ doesn't run there.
Right.
And there is an autonomous Kurd.
Right.
Their writ doesn't run there. That has been done. Lebanon is a, I would say, still work in progress. They had spoken of a greater Lebanon. But greater Lebanon now is clashing more and more with what in olden days they had spoken about greater Israel. So how do they, once they neutralize the Hezbollah, mostly has been neutralized, how they work with the Lebanese? So that they have to see, because a lot of Syrian ports are supposed to go to Lebanon. So will they give it to Muslims or will they give it to Druze Christians? What will happen? Tartus, Latakia, that is already gone today from the Russians. They have pulled out from there. So In Pakistan, let us take it next door, Pakistan and Afghanistan. Afghanistan is to get all the area, less Balochistan is supposed to be an independent country, taking portions of Iran, which is Sistan, Balochistan, and the southern Helmand province of Afghanistan, which is again Baloch area. So that would become the Balochistan. Afghanistan in lieu gets KP and Fatah. That is areas west of Indus. Pakistan is just left with the strip of Punjab and Sindh.
Right.
They are looking at giving Gilgit-Baltistan to Afghanistan. So, in my talks I had said that we should strategically look at Gilgit-Baltistan with us, and whatever we can do, covertly do it and just walk into it, because that breaks the link with China.
Correct.
And you have, through Wakhan corridor, you get a link to Tajikistan directly to Central Asia.
Right.
Through Tajikistan. So you're not that dependent only on the Chabahar, you can have a land corridor also available out here. And exactly the same thing is happening in Pakistan. KP and Fatah have gone out of their hands. And now that's a brutal fight now going on. And Pakistan knows that they're fighting a losing battle. Balochistan, the writ doesn't run. It's an open fight that is going on with BLA, where TTP has, BLA has joined hands with TTP. Sindh itself is having a problem today with the Sindh liberation movement slowly gaining momentum. It's not yet reached the level of Balochistan. Similarly, in Punjab, there is a problem. The South Punjabis are now, these days, not relating themselves with Punjabis, call themselves Saraiki and link themselves with TTP. TTP has bases there in Punjab, which is a worrisome thing for them. And POK, that is POJK and Gilgit-Baltistan, more and more voices are coming out for joining with India. POJK, that is the JNK portion of the Pak-occupied area, I am not too sanguine for taking it, because a whole lot of hardcore elements, radical elements have been based there. And they have changed the demography, and quite a lot of retired Pakistan
Punjab
officers
army people have come.
there. So unless those people are removed, that will take its time. But GB is fighting back. The Shias are fighting back against the Sunnis.
Right.
GB is mostly Shia. So that you can take towards Ladakh and get it. So army is facing an existential threat today, because people are now openly questioning the Pakistan army. And I take it back, the problem starts from, like for the Chinese, the problem of their demography starts from the one-child policy of 79, which Deng Xiaoping ruthlessly implemented.
Right.
In fact, he has neutralized men, he has removed uterus of women if they've gone in for more children. He was ruthless. Same is the case, is the error made by Ziaul Haq in 86 of only teaching hardline jihad in schools.
Right.
So today the rank and file are taught. They come from that environment.
Right.
From age of 5 or 6, he is taught jihad and that it is Sharia law which is the best.
Right.
And he is told to fight against TTP, which is saying, what is their fight? Pakistan should be run by Sharia law. So in the army everywhere, there is a Latin statement called jus et bellum.
Right.
Jus et bellum means just cause for war. Now he feels Sharia is good because that is what he has been taught. And you are telling him to fight against TTP,
Right.
who's wanting Sharia. So he's turning around and asking his officers, what's wrong in what he's asking? Why are you asking me to fight? No wonder they're dropping their weapons and running.
Right. Right.
Now today he is not trusting his Baloch and Sindhi rank and file and officers. He has Punjabi officers who are going there and men who are getting killed. So he's brought in, reports are telling that he has shifted LET that side. Why do you think JNK is not as active? Because LET has been shifted there. He can't control. He doesn't trust. He doesn't trust the Pashtuns, he doesn't trust the Baloch, he doesn't trust the Sindhis that they will fight. He doesn't trust the Northern Alliance light infantry, Northern light infantry that they will fight. So he's left with only Punjabis, and Punjabis are dying. So the man says, why should I die? Dropping his weapons and running away.
Right.
How do you fight? And if an army is totally commercialized, like Ayesha Siddiqui has written a beautiful book, Pakistan's Military Incorporation. This dates back to when we became independent. So a lot of people had fought in Second World Wars. Some have fought in First World War. The British had not given their families the remuneration. So after that, they gave the money to both the countries, that this is the remuneration for the people of the armed forces who fought in these wars.
Right.
We distributed it to the people. The Pakistan Army, this happened I think around 1950. Pakistan Army kept it as a corpus, and there lies the birth of the Fauji Foundation, which is totally commercial. It runs almost every sector of any business, anything in governance you want is run and controlled by them. In fact, WAPDA, which is their water and power department authority, is always, the chairman is always a serving Pakistani Lieutenant General. What the hell has he got to do with water and power?
Right.
It's a serving Pakistani general. So when you have people, this, and people when they retire, if they have not questioned and fought against the authorities, they get absorbed into all these entities. Cement, pharmaceutical, hospitals, education, road transport. Any business you take it, they're there. They are the leading business house. Can such army fight? You can't fight if you're into this. So everyone who comes there not to fight and die, but womb to tomb he's looked after.
Correct.
Because after he retires, once he goes into the business houses, there's hardly any retirement age out there. So he enjoys that. So he takes one pension from here, another pension from there, womb to tomb he's looked after. Such armies can't fight. No, it's no small wonder that they've been losing every war. And when somebody said that Bangladesh is saying that they'll be trained by the Pakistan army and they were getting worried, I laughed. I said, what will he teach them? They only know how to lose. No war they have fought. So the only thing we should be worried about is he's going to teach them more on terrorism.
Right.
That is all he can teach them. There's nothing else to teach. Yunus then again backtracked and said, no, we will not be getting trained by them. So that is the problem today. They're trying to create problems for you.
Right.
So it will be more of problems internal. We have to be strong because it is, I would say, an existential threat to George Soros, Bill Gates, Obama and ilk, that if they don't win this battle, they're over. Obama and his wife, I am told, are no longer in USA. I think Spain or some other place they have gone off. Bill Gates, Elon Musk has given him an open threat. In 1 year, he'll make him bankrupt. That's his open threat to Bill Gates. Because Bill Gates was the one who famously said in one of the meetings, which his audio-visual was leaked, of course, subsequently he got it removed, that the world resources are under stress because of increase in world population. It was about to touch 8 billion then.
Right.
And he said, those who don't contribute, that is global south, you need to exterminate 3 billion. Exterminate is the word he used.
Wow.
COVID was supposed to be for that. But the reverse happened.
True.
So my worry is more of biolabs in Bangladesh.
Well, viewers, a lot to absorb, but you get the idea. I think one of the big takeaways in this Arakan army experience is Bangladesh was getting ready to fight with Indian army, and I think India, without saying anything, sent a big message. You can't even deal with this small Arakan army. What are you dreaming about?
Yeah. Because the moment this happened, he ran away he had a visit in Egypt and he tried to tell Sisi to include it in his press note. He shut him up. Then there was an ASEAN meet where India and China was also there. He tried to raise it up. India and China shut him up. Now he went to the UN Security Council. They have shut him up. You can't even deal with the Arakan army you're trying to deal with India.
Right.
So now you find him, every second day he does a U-turn. He tries to say something because his boss would have told him from abroad that say this, and he does. So the question that comes out is, who is running Bangladesh?
Right.
There is no government.
True.
So that is where it is that they tried to create a problem for you and they've got caught in their own problem.
Right. Thank you so much, General Rajiv Narayanan, and very eye-opening because, see, lots of things are happening in lots of places around the world, but you have to be able to connect the dots to see who is the bigger, stakeholder here, who stands to lose the most. And I think you have painted that picture very well. Thank you once again, sir.
I'll leave you with one thought.
Yeah.
Because I've always said that what we did from March to November 71, this is the ideal time to do it not just to the east, to the west, also to the north. There is growing clamor from the youth to be democratized. And one of their princelings, General Liu Yuan, is openly saying that it should be a parliamentary socialistic democracy. Let's push for that. Why? What happens? Larger picture. Then Taiwan takes over mainland.
Right.
It becomes ROC again.
Right.
Where does the Chinese Navy now go to?
Right.
The Pacific. Pacific is whose backyard?
Right.
Monroe Doctrine, US. So you gave him a catch-22 situation.
Yes, indeed. Thank you once again, sir. Namaskar. Wonderful.